You guys just released a video that's just fascinating, where you have 9 classes of UAP that you described. Can we go through them class by class? Are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And I don't know if you remember all of them off the top. I have a picture on my phone if you know all. Okay, I love it. Awesome. Man who knows his craft. Okay, so no pun intended. So let's go with class 1.
Class 1 is the tetra. The tetra does have different characteristics than just multi-band imagery. So electro-optical, which means daylight camera, usually with a little bit more bandwidth, if you will, so you can see a little bit more than the human eye can see in the visible spectrum. Then we have middle wave infrared and short wave infrared. All 3 of those sensors see the class 1s. It registers on all of them. And then also we have radar that we see the class 1 on.
Any typical behavior that the class 1s engage with? You mentioned they were in a formation before. Any other interesting data that you have on them?
Yeah, so the class 1 tend to fly in groups. We've seen 1 or 2 as a singleton, but usually they're in groups of 3 to 20. And that group tends to fly through in some kind of formation, and it can be everything from 4 or 5 craft seemingly locked together, maneuvering as a group with another group, and even a third, all the way from that to looking like a V formation, like a stealth bomber would look, or a flock of birds, but clearly doing UAP things that don't happen in nature. So we've seen them fly through in those formations right over us, right? So like most UAPs, they'll deviate their flight path that we first see them on, then they'll come into beam of our telemetry systems, and we'll see them on a map, and we'll know exactly the altitude, ground speed, radar cross section. We'll have all that data on that craft at that time, or that group of craft, and then we'll follow their flight path as they fly right over us or right next to us, or whatever maneuver they're doing. So we'll see the class 1s fly right over us. Like I said, usually in a formation of some kind.
Okay, class 2, what are we looking at?
Class 2 is the Tic Tac. So it's about 40 feet in length. We saw that first in 22 and then in 23, and then we didn't see them again until 25, till February this year. We've seen them in groups of 1 to 3. They don't appear to fly in formation as much as arrive together in a group and then depart as singletons. So really hard to say. We don't know that we have them on radar yet. We have a lot of radar data. And for example, in our February event, we had a class 2 which exhibited some very strange behavior, which you'd never seen. It actually used the hills to hide from us and hide from our primary sensors. So we're watching jellyfish fly through the sky and started having interference with our systems, we believe from the jellyfish. And then we had some weird radar blips to the north of us. And so we started looking to the north, and then we saw several UAP, one of which was a Tic Tac. So the Tic Tac, we have laser range finder returns on it, and we have it in multiple spectrums of imagery, but we don't have any SIGINT from it, and we don't have any radar that we know of from it.
Do you guys have infrared?
Yes.
And you have infrared of the Tic Tac? Because, I think of Nimitz, 2004, and I think that the best imagery for that was thermal, forward-looking infrared, 2004 case with David Fravor and, USS Princeton, so.
So what's interesting is the government, if they have never released the electro-optical view of the Tic Tac. I don't know their motivation, whether they have that footage or they have chosen not to release it.
They say they do.
but I'll say in our footage of the Tic Tacs, they are not a round cylinder only, right? They're actually more like a porcupine.
Okay.
So if you look at, if you zoom in and enhance the footage, you can actually see little spikes all around the craft, around the perimeter of it.
Interesting.
Kind of riding the surface of it. Furthermore, I talked about in the other video, the episode, that they appear to bend when they come out of high G maneuvers.
Whoa.
So they're flexible, or semi-rigid, if you will.
I think do you guys have video? Maybe that's the manta, I don't remember, but it feels like the thing is bending in the video. Is that the Tic Tac?
You can see it, and ProPixel did a good job of zooming in, enhancing, and showing that.
Okay, so a little AI enhancement. Yeah. Class 3. What are we looking at?
Class 3 is the blob.
Yep.
So it's I describe it as a Pepto-Bismol colored cloud.
Yeah.
And in the center of the cloud is like a filament that looks golden, almost like a flame. Looks like it's a cylinder. Maybe it has corners. Really hard to tell. And this object, like the Class 1 and the Class 2, does fly in a stable trajectory. But while it's flying in that trajectory, it's vibrating vertically and horizontally very fast. So it moves from point to point instantaneously as it moves along a stable trajectory. And when I say stable trajectory, maybe its flight path is 80 knots, right? Mm-hmm. But on imagery and on radar, it is bouncing all over in a perhaps like a tube, almost like it's in the subway. And you took like the Tasmanian devil and threw him in the subway and said, "Go downtown." And he's going to bounce all over the subway while he moves down that tubular tunnel there. That's kind of what we're seeing in the sky.
Interesting,
right? So as the Tasmanian devil bounces all over the tunnel, he's still moving at a certain speed, but point to point, he's all over the map.
Yeah.
Right? But within a constrained area.
It's fast.
So the Class 3, we've never seen one up close.
Yeah.
We don't know why it vibrates and how it's vibrating, but for sure it is vibrating because we have it on imagery and on radar showing it vibrating. That does meet the threshold of several of the 5 characteristics or maybe 6 characteristics of UAPs, in that it's instantaneous movement from point to point. That, again, there's no contrail, there's no visible propulsion, it's just moving, And we've had to ask ourselves, and it's still a theory, is everything in the sky, a holographic projection? Is this all just the government or a government messing with our heads, making us think we're seeing something, and all it is plasmoids from space-based lasers, making shapes, and they're bouncing them across the sky to throw us off or make us think a thing. I accept that could be a possibility, right? Because what we're looking at with the Class 3 defies any known physics, any known logic of how it's maneuvering. So is it really there? Is it, like I said, a plasmoid with lasers, or is there actually a physical craft there moving across the sky?
They'd have to be, if the government were doing that, they'd have to know where you guys are and then be trying to spoof you or something, which I guess is possible, but I don't know. That's fascinating. Class 4, what are we looking at there?
Class 4 is the orb. We've only seen that a couple years in a row. When we did see the Class 4, we were doing certain activities for the government that we can't do commercially, and we're only able to do them for a limited amount of time with the government. So I can't describe those activities. I can just say that they were extraordinary and different. And when we did those activities is when we noted the Class 4. We think it's about 2-3 years apart across. We've only seen it in the infrared, short wave, and medium wave infrared. That could be due to atmospheric conditions, dust in the air, or other reasons. We've never had them on radar that we know of. Again, we have a lot of data to cull through, and it's expensive and hard to analyze. We're working on that. So we relied on, look, there's an object, it's below the cloud deck, it's not returning a laser rangefinder return, it's moving against the wind, and what we observed was two of them flew in together on either side of our valley and then camped for about 4 hours, 3.5 hours, while actually Class 1s did something, again, extraordinary and different. And then after the Class 1s were done, they flew out together, right? So I don't think celestial bodies could represent like that or present like that, excuse me. I don't think, I don't know of any craft that can, we know the cloud deck wasn't that high that day. In our estimation, any drone or helicopter would have been hearable and visible under those conditions. And these were right here in the sky, just above us, 45-degree angle off each horizon and elevated. And they moved in tandem, right, as a pair. So again, that goes against celestial bodies. It goes against any known technology. And so we believe that is a class of UAP. It could be another class that we've never seen do that activity before, but we have limited data, right? And we state as much.
Which class did you add with the psionic assets, which you just started working with? The egg.
The egg, the class 9.
Okay, fascinating. Well, that dovetails with Jake's story, where he said that when he retrieved the egg in, I think it was the mid-2000s on the range in California, there were some psionic assets present trying to call the thing in. So that's fascinating. Class 5, what are we looking at?
Class 5 is the manta ray. It looks like a black body object that might have perhaps vents on top of it that emanate some kind of, I'll just call it plasma, not necessarily a plasma, although I do believe plasma is seen in conjunction with UAPs often, but we don't know that, right? So emanates something that looks like plasma-ish, and it tumbles and rotates. Again, not too dissimilar from a balloon, but it does things that balloons don't do, like blink out of visibility or fly against the wind. It does other things. So we've seen the class 5 only twice, I guess 3 times now. So we have more observations recently in 2025. I think the last time we saw one was like 23. And we don't know a whole lot about it. We have it on radar. We have it on all the bands of imagery. We don't have any SIGINT for it. It's probably about 2.5 meters in diameter, and it just seems to fly through. It doesn't really stop and smell the music. Smell the roses, excuse me. It doesn't really hang out. It just kind of moves through and then leaves. Until the event with the Tic Tac, where it hovered in the sky and hung. So
that was so fascinating. It almost sounds like the manta and the Tic Tac were like allied against the jellyfish. Like there was this
like definitely
conflict
that.
Or something.
There's definitely
so interesting, like War of the Worlds or something. Okay, class 6. What are we looking at?
So the class 6 is what we call the bright star. It vibrates a lot, and it does things to our equipment, whether it's shutting off our equipment or interferes in other ways with our equipment. To modify what we think we're seeing, right? So
there's some signature management.
There's absolutely some signature management with the class 6. So it doesn't like us to track it, right? It doesn't like us to put eyes on it, we think.
That sounds like possibly human, but I don't know.
Like all things are possible here. But the class 6 vibrates, oscillates very fast, so fast that if you're looking at it under camera, you think you see 3 of them, 1 unit of measure of the craft to the left and to the right. Really, it's 1 vibrating, and you know that because it comes out of the oscillation and stops, and then you see it's 1 craft, and then it'll turn back on, and it moves so fast that our system thinks it's a propeller. So when it oscillates, it's a propeller. It thinks, interprets it as, and then it'll stop oscillating, and then just kind of continue flying, and then the radar will indicate that it's not a propeller anymore.
Wow.
Right? So it does change brightness. It'll seem to like get very energetic, much like the class 3 blob does. It'll emanate more light as it vibrates really fast, and then when the light kind of dies down, it stops vibrating as fast until it stops vibrating completely. And then it'll go back, almost like a cycle, almost like somebody starting a process, and that process, that chain continues until it's exhausted, and then it returns to its old state. And that's kind of what the impression is of what we're seeing with the class 6.
We sent the helo out to intercept the Tic Tac, but the first attempt failed because our radar was being jammed by the class 7 jellyfish.
Where were we in the sky the first time you saw that? That was when we were 7 kilometers or so out to the northwest, 340 at that spot that we went to.
And we kept trying to climb, and it wouldn't let us.
Our helicopter launched, and about a half mile out, the helicopter stopped moving. Engines running, blades are turning, but it would not go forward, it would not go up, it would not go left or right, it was stuck there.
So we've had several interactions with UAPs in the air. First, the most prominent UAP we see are the jellyfish, the class 7. When we chase them, they evade us. We have on video us flying towards the class 7 and it changing its flight path, going into the wind, going perpendicular to the wind, and then elevating away from us. We're moving at 80 plus knots in a little bird, and watching the Class 7s with video and with radar, we know its airspeed, and maybe it's 30 or 40 knots. We should be able to air-to-air intercept that all day long, but they consistently outrun us and escape us. So so we've had that interaction. And then, yes, with the Tic Tac, I'll talk through kind of what happened with the Tic Tac, because it's actually very interesting. We had observed the Class 7s fly through our radar beam and approximate our team repeatedly over 4 or 5 days. I believe it was 4 days. On the 4th day, the Class 7, it was actually very interesting. We had nobody up on the hill outside of the talk. It was a barren hilltop. The helicopter wasn't there. On the 4th day, the Class 7 came and hovered over us for about 5 minutes. All right. Now, that's never happened before, and it hovered at about 800 meters over us, so we could see it with the naked eye for the first time. As soon as we started coming outside the talk to look at it and grabbing other cameras to try and image it, it started moving away. All right. Now, understand, the Class 7 has some kind of apparently inherent microwave energy that it's emitting, right? And that energy interferes with our cabling between our systems, we believe. So we've noticed an effect that when the Class 7 is present, we lose connection to our sensors, the high-end sensors that we're remoted into. So our primary sensor didn't collect on that Class 7 while it was in hover or over us. Once it departed the area, our sensors turned back on, and we were able to actually image it. And I would offer, we've never had that happen before, ever. We never had one approximate, and we never had our sensors go down. So we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of camera gear inside the talk, right? And so here's the team scrambling, like our primary sensor just quit working, and now we're like, all right, let's grab the cameras and go image it. So everyone's in a hurry trying to do that, and poor Rory is out there just shooting all these videos and is taking photos, like, oh, this is amazing, and talking through it. And then we look at the camera and there's no SD card in it. And we realized, because they were our secondary systems, like we'd never seen one with these cameras, right? They were there for emergency use and we hadn't prepped them, right? Sometimes through those errors, they're costly, but you learn, right? Now we are prepared for our secondary systems to become primary in case they approximate again. But we had to learn that the hard way, right? So we've seen the Class 7s fly through our airspace routinely and probe, apparently, our active systems, our emanating systems. And so each day it seemed to get more, I would say aggressive, but I don't know that it's aggressive. It just got more interesting. And so maybe the first day it flies over top of what our radar bubble should be. Then maybe the next day it flies over top, maybe a little bit lower, and then deviates. Maybe it's coming from the west and then it heads north. And then later in the day it comes in from the west and heads south, as in it's measuring our radar beam, our radar field. So that's the impression we got. And then for the first time in February, we saw 2 jellyfish fly together in the radar, and they offset from us equally. So 6 kilometers north and south of us, and they flew right past us, right?
Whoa.
So we're like, well, that's pretty cool. I've never seen them in pairs before.
Yep.
And they're obviously interested in us in the middle, and they're putting themselves in beam of our systems. So then,
do they resemble the jellyfish that Jeremy Corbell revealed a couple years ago?
No, not
different.
Not to us. That looks like a shriveled up version of what we have. Right? I would say, our jellyfish are about 2 to 3 meters across in the head.
Yeah.
I think they look like an aspirin pill.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the tentacles are about 5 meters long.
And I think the tentacles in your case, if I'm visualizing it correctly, are a little more dynamically moving than if you look at the Jeremy Corbell thing, I think it's thermal imaging, and they look like kind of stuck together, and like they're not they're not moving the tentacles.
Well, the tentacles seem to flow a little bit more, and that's actually gets into I hate the word debunker or debunking, because it starts with the premise of we're going to prove you're a liar or prove you are incorrect. Instead of I'm going to consume what you're saying, I'm going to make a fair and unbiased estimation of the validity of that information and then release those results. So debunking to me is a adversarial relationship, and I think that there are paid debunkers out there who are too quick to come in and body slam and present falsehoods because they don't know the whole story and they're assuming they do. And they're assuming some kind of malintent on our side of, hey, these guys must be liars. These guys are some kind of secret government program. None of it makes any sense at the end of the day. But the jellyfish, what's very interesting is if you take a balloon and release it into the wind and watch it, which we have done, the string will dangle below the balloon. And why is that? Because the balloon relative to the wind is blowing in the wind. You might get some oscillation of some turbulence or some different winds at different levels as it transitions through those winds. But for the most part, you're going to look at a balloon and you're going to see basically like a lollipop, right? A straight line coming down from the strings. If you take a helicopter and you conduct operations like Jake does with a long line, and you put that long line under weight and you lift it up and start flying 60, 80, 100 knots, right? The long line with load is going to be maybe a 45-degree angle off the bottom of the helicopter. It's going to be straight because it's under load, but it's blowing back from the relative wind, pushing it back. If you take that same helicopter and release the payload from it, but keep the long line and then fly into the wind, something very interesting happens. The long line actually forms a U shape, and the U is in the direction of travel. And that's because of the air pressure on that long line builds up in the middle of it. The surface area becomes under enough pressure that it actually bends the line in the direction of flight, so that as you're flying into the wind, it's like a U or a C flying, like a Pac-Man flying into the wind, right? What's interesting about the Class 7s is we've released images of them with the tentacles sometimes being straight, and then the same craft, when we know it's flying perpendicular to the wind in a swimming motion, the long line, the tentacles are actually in a Pac-Man, shape, indicating that it is flying into the wind, or it's flying faster than the wind. It is not floating with the wind. So as these debunkers try to come out with their theories, sometimes it's sad that they haven't done their basic analysis and research, and they're calling things balloons that, maybe one day we'll find out it's a balloon, but it's not your run-of-the-mill Mylar bought at Walmart. If it is a balloon, it's a hybrid balloon that can lift, apparently, and maneuver against and perpendicular to the wind at will, and ascend and descend. So these are properties that normally balloons can't do. So am I saying it's not a balloon? No. But if it is a balloon, it has to be a hybrid. At least with our current understanding of physics. And there's something special about it.
Right. Some secret physics balloon at least.
Minimum.
Minimum.
In proximity to it, it will say don't come any higher. Because that was when I told you guys elevate, right?
As soon as we turn, controls resisting.
That's fascinating.
We were called out to intercept an object that was found on radar. We went to the location it was supposed to be at. We circled a couple times, and were requested to climb another 1,000 feet. The instrumentation started to bounce, and the collective basically was frozen.
And so you tried to, you guys flew up, and it was a Class 7, right, that you were chasing with the helicopter? And then it was like this, it was really interesting in this last video you guys released, there was like this almost like barrier you couldn't get beyond or something?
No, so to get back to the story, so we had Class 7s on the fourth day. One hovered over us, and we went to bed that night thinking, what's going to happen next? Like, what happens? Like, okay, so they've done everything that you could do to indicate we're interested in you. They've flown in beam. They must know, whoever's operating these, that we can see them. They must know that we're on the hill looking at them. They, like, for sure they must know. When we fly a helicopter towards them, they evade it. So they know that there's some kind of action force in the vicinity of them, right? Some kind of action element, us. So on the fifth day, I went to bed thinking, what's more aggressive? Is it going to come down and land? Is it going to blow us up? Is it going to hit us with energy? Like, is it going to send us a text message? Like, what's going to happen with this UAP that's more aggressive than what it did so far? What should we expect? And so that night, Jordan, our psionic lead, if you will, came up to me and Alex like, hey, tomorrow we're going to see, a conflict in the sky. We're going to have different UAPs are going to come in, and there's going to be...
He sensed that.
He said that.
Whoa.
And he said it to me and Alex, and I've since talked to Jordan. I said, Jordan, never do that to me again, ever. If you ever come up to me again, bring a damn camera with a date time group in the screen, record you telling us this prediction, and then mail it to somebody outside of our group so that there's proof that it transited to a third party because his prediction came true. Right? Literally, that's what happened on the fifth day. We had jellyfish at a distance. We had extreme, I will just say, interference with our systems. Typically, we'd never seen jellyfish interfere with us in the last several years. And up to this day, the 4 days preceding it, we had mild interference with our systems, disconnecting from the primary sensors when the jellyfish were in vicinity. But on the 5th day, the interference was constant for 2 hours. And because it's constant, we can't see the jellyfish. Our primary sensor doesn't connect. We can't use it. So we started looking to try and figure out what's going on. That's when we discovered the Class 2 Tic Tac and the manta ray in the sky hiding behind the terrain.
That's right.
Between us and the jellyfish.
That's so fast.
Right? And what's really, really crazy here is there have been 2 instances of UAP reacting seemingly to our intent. So around 2003, we were running an event, and we had the opportunity to bring, for the government event, we brought an energy weapon with us. And so we had this energy weapon up on the hill, and we're doing things with it for the government project.
Just microwave battery?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And we saw a Class 6 coming through our event, right? And this was extracurricular in our own time. And somebody from another group was like, hey, let's aim that thing at that UAP and see what happens if we energize it. So we're like, sure, let's just see what happens, right? So this person went to move. It was there was no electronic gimbal. It was like a manual antenna. You had to feed horn. You had to turn towards the UAP. So he's like, goes out there a couple, call it 60, 70 feet from our operating area, runs out there and starts turning it towards it. Mid-turn, before he could actually turn it to the UAP, the UAP hit us with an energy weapon.
Whoa.
Right? And that energy weapon turned our systems off, as in OFF, as in blank screens.
Wow.
It was working, and then it was in the off position.
Yeah.
And it happened to systems that were not connected to the same network, and that were not used together. So I think there were 3 separate systems that turned off. Wow. All right. So did the UAP know that we were going to try to send energy towards it, high energy microwave towards it?
Seems like it.
And did it react? I think so.
Yeah.
This has never happened since, because we've never tried that again.
Yeah.
And we can't try it now commercially, because that's highly illegal. No one should do that in the United States. You should go to jail. Like, that's not a laughing matter. The FCC will get you.
Yeah.
Or the FAA or whoever it is.
Yeah.
You can't just go do that.
Does that concern you at all? Just that interaction? Does that make you think twice about? Because you hear rumors of directed energy being shot at UAP, and I don't know. I feel conflicted about that. It feels like possibly dangerous, territory. You guys you're mostly doing just psionic based, or not psionic based stuff, but trying to get them to land, or are you doing any of the shooting?
No. So Skywatcher as a team, we are not aggressive. We're not trying to go to war or have destroy American or Chinese or Russian equipment in the sky and
create an intergalactic battle.
Or have a war with NHI or whatever the hell it is. Like we're not trying to do that. We don't want that pain. We don't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
We are approaching this very scientifically and peacefully. And so those activities aren't activities that we want to do. And if those are done, the government can go do that. We have no interest in harming or destroying any of this material or craft or beings. Like, that's not our interest at all. It's quite the opposite, actually. And our desire is that one lands. And that is, with the psionic team, what we're trying to do is get one to land peacefully, right? We don't need to harm or kill or maim or destroy. We want to observe, collect, and understand. Class 8 is the Hornet.
Okay.
We've only seen a Class 8 a couple times.
Interesting.
Yep. Kind of like the Class 5, it's kind of elusive. We don't see it a whole bunch.
Anything specific that you did around that time where the Hornet entered, or?
No, but the Hornet was the last UAP I chased in March.
Yeah. And that was, you were telling me on the phone, you got a little discombobulated or something?
No, that was actually the Tic Tac.
That was the Tic Tac.
Yep.
Story you told.
The Class 8 is the one we flew within about 200 meters and couldn't see it.
Okay. And so what happened when you chased the Hornet, Class 8?
It continued on its flight path, didn't deviate, didn't change, but we just couldn't see it and document it.
Interesting.
Right? So it just continued on a very slow, it was only moving like 20 knots.
Whoa.
Super, super slow.
Interesting.
Antagonizing. So slow, we were just doing orbits, trying to like get in, chasing it in orbits, trying to get aligned to it so we could visualize as we went past it. We just couldn't.
Wild.
Couldn't ever see it.
Class 9.
The class 9 is the egg.
That's the egg. Yeah. So this is so fascinating. Is this the hope? Because I spoke to Jake, I think it was in January, and we had a really interesting discussion. He exuded a lot of confidence. He said in 6 months, we're going to get this thing to land.
If all things go well, before, I'm trying not to say a date, but within the first half of 2025, we hope to do a demonstration and invite key members of the public from institutions and demonstrate this and maybe even get something to the ground. And that's going to answer a lot of questions.
That would be absolutely insane.
And I don't know, maybe that's a, Elon Musk style timeline that's a little aggressive or something, but is it? Can you guys get the egg to land? Is that, presumably I would assume that's the hope because of his past experience. I look at some of these other classes, and to me, there's such a gap between like the manta ray or hornet or some of these things and like, a concrete object like on the ground that you can like reverse engineer and fly. So is the hope the egg, and can you guys bring it down pretty quickly, through peaceful psionic means? Or
I have no expectation.
Okay.
I literally don't know.
Yeah.
Like, is the egg a real craft?
Yeah.
Is the thing we imaged with our rudimentary imaging system at the time even there? Mm-hmm. Right? If it is there, can Jordan or someone else control it? Mm-hmm. Right? If they can't control it, are they able to tell it to land and have it land? I would offer in known history that has never happened. Mm-hmm. Right? And if it has happened, it's in a closed program that nobody knows about.
Well, according to Jake, it's happened.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So show me the money.
Yeah, right.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. I would love for that to happen.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
That'd be wild.
Will it happen?
Yeah.
Will it happen in 6 months? I have no idea.
Yep.
When I like it to, of course I would.
Is that the one you're holding out hope for as far as some sort of retrieval of actual material, or are there others that you feel might be able to, you might be able to derive material from? Or
any of these craft appear to have material and technology that we don't understand. Mm-hmm. So if any of them were to land or crash, that would be very interesting. Mm-hmm. I can say
some could be non-physical though. Some are or some sort of plasma ball thing, right?
I accept that could be the case.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them might be holograms or plasmoids or things that if they land, there's molten. The sand turns to glass or metal or whatever.
Right. Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? I believe we've seen 4 UAPs crash over the years. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
You've seen them crash?
We believe. Wow. And I say believe for a lot of reasons. We've seen 3 class 1s when we were doing, in 2023, when we did something special for the government, the UAPs behaved differently. Mm-hmm. And we saw about 200 UAPs in a day over a 4-hour period. And they were almost all class 1s at the time. And they were actually coming, instead of just flying through our airspace, they were coming from directly over us as if from space. Mm-hmm. So they would come straight down, ingress, and then they would egress out low level away from us. And they did it in 1s and 2s and 3s at a time. We saw about 200 of them total, 200 sorties. The class 1s that are doing that, that's different, right? So as they were doing that, we saw 3 of them that instead of coming in the low level egressing, came in at an angle from directly overhead and just continued as if to the ground.
Whoa.
And they went below the ridge lines, and we never saw them come up.
Did you go look for them?
Yeah. So it was actually really bad timing. That year we had really epic rainfall. That afternoon, after the show was over, it rained for like 2 days straight.
Oh, man.
I had to wait about a week, and then I took a whole crew for a hunt for a cartel drone that had crashed. And we were out there looking for probably 6 or 8 hours. We found nothing. And again, what are we looking for? I'm looking for a glass crystal ball. I'm looking for a cube. I'm looking for a carcass. Like, what am I looking? A tetrahedron? Like, what am I looking for here?
Yeah.
No idea. And some of these deserts are extremely rugged. And at the time, I didn't have a helicopter.
Yep.
And then in 2024, we saw a Class 8 that started 3,500 meters above us as it came through in its sortie.
This is the Hornet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then finished its sortie just a couple hundred meters over the ground, again, right at terrain level.
Wow.
So we went out this January and flew for probably 2 hours, looking for anything. Again, what are we looking for? Don't know. Extremely rugged and difficult terrain. So we think we've seen them crash without us, to our knowledge, doing anything to cause that. But we have yet to find any wreckage or find anything to show like there is something here.